Once upon a time, in the heart of Lagos, there lived a young woman named Adaora Obialo. She was beautiful, graceful, and quiet, but not weak. Her soft voice often hid her sharp mind. Adaora was the only child of Chief Obialo, a powerful and respected billionaire who built his empire from nothing. Growing up, Adaora lacked nothing. Her father made sure she had the best schools, the best clothes, the best life. But Adaora was not like the other rich girls who showed off their wealth. She liked to stay simple. She never wore loud makeup. She never boasted. She always watched people quietly. And now, after her father's sudden death, she was watching everyone even more closely. The funeral was grand. The streets of Victoria Island were blocked. Rolls-Royces lined the roads. Men in agbadas and women in flowing lace filled the compound. Drums beat softly as the body of Chief Obialo was lowered into the ground. Adaora wore a long black gown and dark glasses. Her eyes were hidden, but behind the shades, tears flowed. As the last handful of sand dropped on the coffin, Adaora stood still. Everyone else had stepped back, but she didn't move. Not until she heard the voice behind her. "You know he left you everything, right?" Adaora turned slowly. Her husband, Chike, stood beside her. He was tall and handsome, wearing a white kaftan with golden embroidery. He looked sad on the outside, but his eyes were dry. "What did you say?" Adaora asked. "I said, your father. He left you everything. The company, the estates. You are the Obialo now," Chike said with a small smile. Adaora said nothing. She just nodded slowly and looked back at the grave. It wasn't the first time she had heard such talk. Since her father's death, everyone had been speaking to her differently. Her uncles, her cousins, even her mother's side of the family. People who never visited before were now calling her every day. Some cried on the phone. Some begged. Some demanded. But all of them wanted something. She remembered her cousin Jike who had laughed at her years ago, calling her the useless rich girl. Just last night, he sent her a message saying, "You're the head of the family now. We need your support." Even Chike had changed. They had only been married for 9 months. When they met, he was kind. He was thoughtful. He used to hold her hand tightly in public. Now, he looked at her like she was a bank account. That night, after the burial, Adaora sat alone in her room. The windows were open. The wind was soft. The photo of her father was on her bedside table. She picked it up. "Daddy," she whispered, "they only loved you for your money. Now they're doing the same to me." She sat for a long time in silence. Then, slowly, an idea began to grow in her heart. "What if I wasn't rich?" she said out loud. Her eyes lit up. She sat up straighter. "What if I lost everything? What would they do then? Would Chike still love me? Would they still call me? Would they still respect me?" That night, she didn't sleep. The next morning, she called her late father's lawyer, Mr. Madu. "Good morning, Adaora. I was just going to call you," the old man said. "I need your help," she said calmly. "I want to hide my wealth. I want everyone to think I've lost everything." Mr. Madu paused. "Why would you do that?" "I need to know who truly loves me," Adaora said. "I need to know the truth." "Are you sure about this? The plan is risky. It could change everything." "I'm sure," she replied. And so, the plan began. Adaora signed documents that moved all her assets into secret trusts. Her accounts were closed. Her shares in the company were transferred under a blind trust. Properties were seized by the bank as part of a staged debt scandal. Even her mansion in Ikoyi was sealed off by a team of hired actors pretending to be EFCC officials. The news spread like wildfire. Obialo Empire collapses after death of founder. The headlines carried her face. TV stations ran breaking news all day. Calls poured in. Some friends tried to act concerned, but Adaora could hear the judgment in their voices. "So sorry about what happened. I didn't know the company was so unstable. Iya, will you be okay?" Chai. Life is truly unpredictable. But no one asked how she was feeling. They only wanted to know what she still had left. The worst call came from her uncle. "I hope you can still support the village project," he said bluntly. "I just lost everything," she replied. "Yes, but you were the one your father trusted. Don't tell me you're now broke." Aurora ended the call without another word. The only person who hadn't said anything yet was Chaik. He didn't even ask her what was going on until 3 days later. By then, she had moved into a small rented flat in Soryulir. It was a far cry from the mansion she had lived in. No servants, no cooks, no security guards. One small room, one bed, one chair. Aurora sat on the bed, looking out the window when Chaik walked in. "Is this a joke?" he asked. Aurora looked at him. "No." He laughed dryly. "So, you're telling me we're broke?" "We're not broke," Aurora said slowly. "I am." "Same thing," Chaik snapped. "We're married." Aurora watched him carefully. "Does that change how you see me?" Chaik didn't answer immediately. He picked up a glass of water, drank, and dropped it hard on the table. "You should have told me," he said sharply. "I needed to be sure of something," she replied. Chaik turned to face her. "What?" "That you married me for me. Not for my name. Not for my father's money." His face changed. His eyes narrowed. "So this was a test." Aurora didn't speak. "You brought me into your life, into your world, and now you want to see if I'm loyal." She nodded slowly. Chaik walked towards the door, paused, then turned back. "Let's see how long you last." And he walked out. That night, Aurora sat in her room, her head leaning against the wall. She held her knees close to her chest. Her phone was silent. No messages. No missed calls. No one cared anymore. But she didn't cry. She stared at the darkness and whispered, "Let the test begin." The first night in the small Soryulir flat was cold. The fan made noise but didn't bring breeze. Aurora lay on the small bed, staring at the ceiling. She could still feel her father's hands holding hers, his voice saying, "Don't ever let this world change your heart." But the world was already doing just that. In just 1 week, she had lost everything on the outside. Her house, her cars, her friends. But what hurt most was the change she saw in Chaik. The man who once kissed her forehead every morning now walked around like she was a mistake. The next morning, Aurora woke up early and made breakfast. Plain bread and tea. It felt strange. In her father's house, breakfast came in trays with fruits, eggs, even flowers. But now, she was spreading margarine on sliced bread with shaky hands. When Chaik came out from the other room, his eyes went straight to the food. "This is what we're eating?" he asked with a frown. "It's what we have," Aurora said gently. He hissed and sat down. "You could have at least added eggs," he muttered. "There's no money yet for eggs," she said, trying to smile. He looked up sharply. "No money? Are you not the same Aurora Obialo?" "I told you," she said slowly, "everything is gone. This is real." Chaik threw the bread back on the plate. "Then maybe you should call those people who froze the accounts. Do something. This life is not for me." Aurora stood up and walked into the tiny bathroom. She didn't want to cry in front of him. That day, she sat by the window, thinking. Her phone stayed silent again. None of her so-called friends checked on her. Nobody asked where she had gone. No one cared that the heiress of the Obialo Empire had vanished into thin air. Later that evening, Chaik came home with a nylon bag. He threw it on the table and said, "Bought noodles. Make it fast. I'm starving." Aurora nodded. "All right." She boiled water, added the seasoning, and watched the steam rise from the pot. She felt strange. Not because she couldn't cook. She had learned to cook years ago. But because Chaik didn't even say thank you. She placed the food before him. Chaik ate fast. Not a single word. When he finished, he looked at her. "I need cash tomorrow." "For what?" she asked. "For transportation. Or do you want me to trek to the office?" She hesitated. "I only have 1,000 left." Chaik stood up. 1,000? Are you joking? No. That's all, she whispered. Chike laughed coldly. You're really useless like this. Aurora blinked. What did you say? He picked up his bag. Forget it. I'll find a way. You think this suffering life suits you? Let's see how long you last. And again, he left. Adeora's hands shook as she picked up the plate. She walked slowly to the sink. As she washed it, tears dropped into the water. But she didn't make a sound. Later that night, she sat on the floor and whispered to herself, he doesn't love me. He never did. Days passed. The rent was paid for only 1 month, and the food in the cupboard was reducing fast. Aurora tried to ask Chike for help, but each time, he gave her the same reply. Ask your father's ghost. On the 5th day, they had a fight. Aurora sat in the room, going through a notebook where she was writing down her daily spending. She wanted to be sure she used every naira wisely. Chike came in, sweating. No light again, he said. Yes, I noticed, Aurora replied. And no fuel in the gen, he added. I didn't plan for fuel money today. He walked to her, stood in front of her. You're enjoying this, aren't you? You want to punish me. No, Aurora said quietly. I'm punishing myself. But I need the truth. And the truth is, you're not the man I thought you were. Chike's face twisted. You planned all this just to watch me suffer. I planned this to see who will still hold my hand when everything is gone. He turned away. You're selfish. You call this love. You married me because you loved me, right? Chike turned back and looked straight at her. I married you because of your name. Because of your father's money. That's the truth. Aurora felt like the air had been kicked out of her chest. He added, and now that all that is gone, what's left? This tiny flat? This empty life? You! She stared at him in silence. He shook his head. You better wake up, Aurora. Because if you think I'll carry your shame with you, you're dreaming. That night, Aurora didn't sleep. She just sat by the window, listening to the sounds of motorcycles, generators, and crying babies in the neighborhood. The next day, she decided to go out. She needed to clear her head. She wore a long skirt and plain top, tied a scarf around her hair, and locked the door. She walked slowly down the stairs of the apartment building. As she reached the bottom, someone called out, Madam Aurora. She turned. It was an old woman from the flat beside hers. You day go out? The woman asked with a kind smile. Aurora nodded. Yes, just to breathe small. Make you no stay too long. Sun day hot. Aurora smiled faintly. Thank you, Ma. She stepped out and began to walk. The roads were rough. Dust filled the air. Hawkers shouted. Buses honked. Children ran barefoot. She felt like she was in another world. As she crossed a narrow road, her phone rang. She looked at the screen. It was her old friend, Uchichi. Her heart jumped. Maybe someone finally cared. Hello. Aurora, is it true? Uchichi asked quickly. What? That you're poor now? Aurora paused. Yes. Silence. Then Uchichi said, I wanted to invite you for my bridal shower, but I don't think you'll feel comfortable. The girls attending are, you know, on a certain level. Aurora smiled sadly. It's fine. All right. Take care. The call ended. Aurora dropped the phone into her bag. Her eyes were wet, but she didn't cry. She turned back. She was tired. Tired of trying to explain. Tired of hoping someone would understand. As she walked up the steps to her flat, her slipper caught the edge of a loose tile. Her leg twisted. She screamed. And then, everything went black. When Aurora opened her eyes, the first thing she saw was white light. A fan turned slowly on the ceiling. She couldn't move. She tried to sit up, but pain shot through her spine. She gasped. A nurse rushed in. Madam, please don't move. Where am I? Aurora asked in a shaky voice. General Hospital. You fainted and fell. Some neighbors brought you. My back. It hurts. The nurse looked nervous. Madam, the doctor will explain. A few minutes later, the doctor walked in. A middle-aged man with kind eyes. Good evening, Heiress. I'm Dr. Emeka. I'm very sorry, but I have to give you some hard news. Heiress held her breath. You had a bad fall. The lower part of your spine is damaged. Right now, your legs can't move. Heiress blinked. What do you mean? You are currently paralyzed from the waist down. Her lips trembled. You mean, I can't walk? The doctor looked away. We'll still run more tests. But for now, yes. You'll be in a wheelchair. The words hit her like thunder. She turned her head to the side. The tears came slowly. Hot. Silent. The doctor placed a hand on her shoulder. We'll do everything we can. She nodded slowly. Hours later, Chaik came into the room. He stood by the door, holding his phone. They said you fell, he muttered. She turned her face to him. I can't walk, she whispered. Chaik didn't move closer. I'll be in a wheelchair, she added. Chaik scoffed. So, first you lose the money, now you lose your legs. Heiress's eyes widened. Maybe God is punishing you for testing people, he said coldly. Chaik. He walked closer. You think I signed up for this? A broke, crippled woman. She covered her mouth with her hand. The pain in her heart was worse than the one in her back. You'll be discharged soon, he said. Don't expect me to carry you around. He left. Heiress lay in the hospital bed, her hands shaking. She looked at her legs. They didn't move. She closed her eyes and whispered, This is more than a test now. This is war. The day Heiress was wheeled out of the hospital, the sky looked grey. The clouds hung low, and everything felt cold. She sat in the wheelchair quietly, staring ahead as two nurses helped her down the ramp. Her body was weak, but her heart felt weaker. Chaik stood by the hospital gate, holding his phone and chewing gum. He didn't look up when the nurses brought her forward. He didn't even say a word of greeting. He just stood there like someone waiting for a package to be delivered. Sir, please help us carry her into the taxi, one nurse said politely. Chaik rolled his eyes. You people have hands. Push her inside. Heiress's lips pressed together. She didn't say anything. She had cried enough in the hospital. She had cried when she first realized her legs were no longer working. She had cried when Chaik visited only once in 4 days. And she had cried the most when she saw the way he looked at her now, like a broken object. When they got to the flat, Chaik opened the door and stepped inside. He didn't wait to help her in. Heiress struggled to push the wheels over the small step at the entrance. The pain in her arms made her wince. Her body was still healing. The doctor had warned her not to strain too much. The wheelchair got stuck. Chaik, she called softly. He was already sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone. Chaik, please help me. He sighed loudly. Must I do everything now? I can't lift it over the step. He stood up slowly, walked over, and without saying anything, grabbed the handles and pushed the wheelchair inside. There, he said, letting go quickly. Heiress wheeled herself to the corner and looked around. The room felt smaller than before. Everything looked darker. She could feel her life closing in. Chaik picked up the remote and turned on the TV. So what now? He asked without looking at her. What do you mean? What's the plan? He said, still watching the screen. You can't walk. You have no money. You can't even work. Heiress swallowed hard. The doctor said I'll start physiotherapy next week. Chaik scoffed. With which money? I'll find a way. He turned to her slowly. Heiress, you're not the same person I married. She nodded. I know. He stood up and faced her fully. And I'm not sure I can keep doing this. She stared at him. Doing what? Pretending, he said sharply. Pretending to care. Pretending this is a marriage. Heiress looked down at her lap. Her fingers began to tremble. You used to be someone, he said coldly. A big name. Obialo's daughter. People respected you. Now, Look at you. I'm still the same person inside, she said softly. Chaik laughed. Inside? Do you think inside pays rent? Do you think inside cooks or walks or brings money? She opened her mouth to speak but closed it again. There was nothing left to say. I didn't sign up for this, Chaik added, walking back to the couch. Aurora turned her chair and slowly wheeled herself to the bedroom. Her arms were tired, her back ached, but her heart was the heaviest thing in the room. Inside the bedroom, she closed the door and sat still. She stared at the wall and whispered, "This was supposed to be a test, but now it's something else." She looked down at her legs. They lay there, quiet and useless. "I thought I was in control," she said. "But maybe I was wrong." The next few days were harder than anything she had ever faced. Each morning, Aurora woke up before Chaik. She cleaned the small flat from her chair, using a long mop and stretching painfully to reach corners. She made simple meals with the little groceries they had. She tried to stay cheerful, tried to keep hope alive. But Chaik didn't notice. Or maybe he didn't care. He came home late every night. Sometimes, he didn't come at all. He would return in the morning smelling like alcohol and perfume. When Aurora asked where he went, he would snap back, "Don't start your drama." One afternoon, Aurora saw him counting money on the bed. "Where did you get that?" she asked. He ignored her. "Chaik." He looked up. "I sold your gold wristwatch." Aurora gasped. "That was my father's gift." Chaik shrugged. "You're not using it. We need money." "You didn't ask me." "Ask who? You think you have power here? You can't even move your legs." Aurора's chest tightened. He stood and walked out. She sat alone for hours, staring at the empty spot on the wall where her father's portrait once hung. She had hidden it the day she fell, but now she wished she could talk to it. "Daddy," she whispered, "I thought I was strong. I thought I could find out the truth. But I didn't know the truth would hurt like this." Her eyes filled with tears again. One evening, Chaik brought a visitor to the house. A slim woman with long fake lashes, wearing a tight dress and heavy perfume. Aurora was in the room when she heard them laughing in the sitting room. "Your place is small but cozy," the woman giggled. "Yeah, don't mind it," Chaik replied. "I'm just here temporarily. Once business picks up again, we'll move." Aurora rolled herself to the door and opened it slightly. She could see them sitting close. Too close. "Your wife doesn't mind?" the woman asked in a low voice. "Mind what?" Chaik said. "That one doesn't know what's happening around her." The woman giggled again. Aurора's hands gripped the wheels tightly. She backed into her room and closed the door. Later that night, she confronted him. "You brought a woman into our home," she said as he changed his shirt. "She's a friend. Friends don't touch knees and whisper in corners." Chaik turned sharply. "Are you monitoring me now? This is still my house." "Really?" he snapped. "You think this dump is yours? You think you're still in Ikoyi?" Aurora looked away. "You don't own anything anymore," he said cruelly. "You're just a broken woman stuck in a chair." She felt her chest rise and fall with pain. "You didn't even ask if I was okay when I came back from therapy today," she said quietly. "I didn't have to. You're still breathing, right?" Aurora said nothing. "You're lucky I haven't left you yet," Chaik added. That night, she slept with her back to him, tears soaking her pillow. Weeks passed. Each day became harder. The physiotherapy was painful. The doctors encouraged her, but progress was slow. Her legs remained numb. Her arms grew stronger from pushing the chair, but her heart remained tired. One morning, after Chaik left the house, Aurora tried to stand. She grabbed the wall and pushed herself up, using her arms. Her legs shook. Pain shot through her spine. She collapsed. She lay on the floor, breathing hard, her face pressed to the cold tiles. She whispered, "I will not give up." Slowly, she dragged herself to the bed, used her arms to climb up, and sat there panting. Her phone rang. It was her aunt. "Ah, Aurora. Long time," the woman said. Auntie, good morning. I heard you had an accident. Iya. Yes, I'm getting better. Good. So, your cousin needs help with school fees. Aurora blinked. I don't have money right now. Silence. So the news is true? You're truly broke. I'm fine, Auntie, but I can't help now. Ah, God help you. Oh, it's not good for a woman to be helpless. Take care. The call ended. Aurora looked at her phone and laughed bitterly. The laugh turned into a sob. She whispered, "Nobody is calling to ask how I feel. They only call to collect." She dropped the phone and stared at the ceiling. That evening, when Chaik returned, he threw a plastic bag at her. "Eat. I brought food." She opened it. It was stale jollof rice. She looked up. "Thank you." Chaik sat and pulled off his shoes. "I'm going out later." "Again?" "Yes." "Where do you go every night, Chaik?" He didn't answer. "Chaik, please talk to me." He looked at her coldly. "I have nothing to say to you. I'm still your wife." "No. You're just a problem I have to manage." Adeora's lips trembled. "Do you hate me that much?" "I don't hate you," he said, standing up. "I just don't feel anything anymore." And he walked out. That night, Aurora sat by the window. The room was quiet. She held her father's old handkerchief in her lap. "I didn't know this test would cost me everything," she said out loud. "I thought I would just see the truth and fix things. But now I don't even know how to stand again, literally and emotionally." She closed her eyes. "I'm tired, Daddy. So tired." But in her heart, something small remained. A tiny spark. A whisper. "Don't give up yet." She opened her eyes, wiped her face, and whispered, "I will not let this destroy me. Even if I'm in a wheelchair for life, I will rise again." And for the first time in weeks, she believed it. Aurora woke up to the sound of the front door slamming. Her eyes opened slowly. She looked around the dim room. The sun had not yet fully risen. The air was quiet. Only the sound of her wall clock ticking filled the space. She turned her head slightly and saw that Chaik was not beside her. His side of the bed was empty. Again, it had become normal. He hardly spent nights at home anymore. Most times he came in late, and some nights, he never came back at all. Aurora stared at the ceiling and took a deep breath. Her body still ached from the last round of physiotherapy. Her arms were sore, and her back still throbbed. But the pain in her body wasn't what broke her. It was the silence. The way Chaik no longer looked at her. The way he walked past her like a piece of old furniture. She sat up slowly, grabbed the side of her wheelchair, and pulled herself in. She had become used to it now. Her arms were stronger, and her movements were faster. She wheeled herself out to the living room. The curtain was still drawn. The room was quiet. She looked around. No signs of Chaik. His slippers were gone. His bag too. She picked up her phone and checked the time. 6:12 a.m. No missed calls. No messages. She sighed and went into the kitchen to boil water for tea. There wasn't much in the house. The cupboard had 2 packs of noodles left, half a tin of milk, and dry Gary. The fridge hummed weakly. There was no light, but the generator had been run for 2 hours the night before, just enough to keep things cool. She made her tea slowly and sipped it in silence. Then, her phone rang. She looked at the screen. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello." The voice on the other end was sharp and female. "Is this Aurora?" "Yes." "Who is this?" The person laughed. "Wow. So it's true. You're really alive." "I don't understand." "Ask your husband," the woman said. "Since he's been lying to me for months." Aurora frowned. "Who are you?" "I'm the woman your husband has been sleeping with." Silence. Adeora's hand froze. The voice continued. "He told me you were sick, but I didn't know you were crippled too." "Yeah. So sorry." Aurora blinked slowly. Her fingers tightened around the phone. I just wanted you to know, the woman added. He's not who you think he is. He's been coming to my house every weekend, saying he's tired of you, saying he wants to marry me. Aurora took a deep breath. Why are you calling me? Because I'm tired of hiding, and because I feel sorry for you. The call ended. Aurora sat there, frozen. Her tea was cold now. Her mind ran in circles. Her heart beat faster. She had suspected. She had seen lipstick on his shirt once. She had smelled perfume that wasn't hers. But she had never heard it from the mouth of another woman. She looked toward the door. And for the first time in a long while, she felt something rise in her. Not sadness. Not fear. Anger. Hot, silent anger. When Chaik returned around 9 a.m., Aurora was sitting by the door. He stepped in, smiling. Morning, he said casually. Where were you? She asked calmly. Chaik blinked. I went to buy something. At 6 a.m. He looked away. I passed the gym too. Aurora nodded. Who is Amora? Chaik paused. Who? Don't lie, Chaik. Amora. Who is she? He dropped his keys slowly. What did you hear? She called me. He laughed, but his voice was shaky. She's mad. She doesn't know what she's saying. She said you sleep in her house. That you want to marry her. Chaik raised his voice. And you believe her? Just like that. She knew my name. She knew I was crippled. He went silent. Aurora stared at him. You've been cheating on me. Chaik sighed. Aurora, you're not the woman I married anymore. I didn't change. Life did. He raised his hands. What do you want me to say? That I made a mistake? That I'm tired? That I need someone who makes me feel alive again? Her eyes narrowed. So I don't make you feel alive. Chaik walked to the table. This house is full of sadness. You don't laugh. You don't talk. You're always in that chair, looking lost. I'm trying, she said, her voice shaking. I'm trying every day, even with the pain, even when you treat me like trash. He turned to her. I didn't marry you to carry burden, Aurora. I married you because you were Aurora Obialo, the heiress, the billionaire's daughter. She felt her chest break open again. You were powerful. You walked into rooms and everyone respected you. Now, you're just this. She wheeled back slowly, tears in her eyes. I didn't ask for this life. And I didn't sign up for it, he snapped. They both went quiet. After a while, Aurora said, If you're so tired, why don't you leave? Chaik stared at her. I said go, she repeated. Be with Amora. Be with whoever makes you feel alive. He looked unsure for the first time. You're pushing me out. I'm already alone, Chaik. You left long ago. He picked up his keys and wallet. I'll be back tonight, he said. Don't bother. He paused. Aurora looked at him one last time. You broke my heart, but you won't break my spirit. He left, and Aurora sat still. Her chest was heavy, but her eyes were dry. Later that day, she tried to reach out to someone, anyone. She called her cousin, Ifunanya. Iffy, I need to talk, she said. But the voice on the other end replied, Please, I'm busy. Call me later. The line went dead. She called her old driver. Olga Martins, it's Aurora. Aurora? Madam? You day where? I'm home. Which home? I thought. I heard things. It's okay. I just wanted to hear a familiar voice. Ah. Sorry, Ma. I'm working for another madam now. But I wish you well. He ended the call. Aurora dropped the phone on her lap. She looked around the room. The cracks on the wall. The worn rug. The broken fan. She whispered, So this is what life looks like, when you have nothing but yourself. That evening, her physiotherapist came for home practice. His name was Tochi. He was young, quiet, and kind. Ready for today? He asked, rolling up her sleeves. Aurora nodded. I have to be. They practiced arm exercises, shoulder stretches. He tried to massage her legs, but there was no response. "I feel nothing," she said sadly. "Don't worry. It takes time." She looked at him. "Thank you for not giving up on me." He smiled gently. "You're stronger than you know." When he left, Aurora sat alone in the room. The light had gone. The bulb flickered weakly. She lit a candle and held her father's handkerchief in her palm. She whispered, "Daddy, I thought I was doing something smart. I just wanted to know who was real. But now I've lost more than I planned." She looked at the candlelight. "But maybe I needed to lose everything to see clearly." Suddenly, she heard a phone ring from under the couch. Not her phone. Chaik's. He had forgotten it. She picked it up and saw a message flash on the screen. "Amora, baby, I miss you. Come back soon. She doesn't need you anymore." Adeora's hand trembled. Another message came in. "Amora, don't forget to bring the gold necklace. I want to wear it tomorrow." Adeora stared at the screen. So he was not only cheating. He was giving away her things. She opened the message list. Dozens of messages. Photos, videos, jokes, voice notes. All of them filled with laughter and affection. None of them for her. She dropped the phone. And for the first time in a long while, she screamed. She screamed from her stomach. Loud, raw, painful. Tears flowed freely. She grabbed the pillow and screamed into it again. It felt like her heart had cracked open. She shouted, "I loved you. I gave you everything. How could you do this to me?" Her body shook with anger. She cried until she couldn't breathe. Then she wiped her eyes and whispered, "Enough." She picked up her own phone and dialed a number she hadn't called in months. It rang twice. "Hello?" came the voice. "Uncle Madhu. It's Aurora." The old lawyer's voice softened. "Aurora? My dear, it's been so long. I need your help. Say it. Anything. I want to change the will." Silence. "I want to cut out my husband. I want to protect what's left. And I want you to come see me tomorrow." The lawyer cleared his throat. "Are you sure you're ready?" "Yes. I've seen enough." He paused. "Then I'll be there." She ended the call. And for the first time in weeks, Aurora felt something rise in her again. Not anger this time. Fire. Not the fire of hate, but the fire of strength. She wheeled herself to the window. The night breeze touched her face. She whispered, "They think I'm finished. But I'm just getting started." The next morning, Aurora was already awake before the sun rose. Her eyes were open, but her body didn't move. She had not slept much. Her pillow was still damp from last night's tears. Everything she read on Chaik's phone was still fresh in her mind. Amora's voice notes, the stolen gold, the pictures of them together like a couple in love. Aurora lay there quietly, listening to the sound of water dripping from the tap in the bathroom. Every sound in the house now felt louder, sharper. Even the creaking of the door felt like someone shouting in her ears. She heard the front door open. Chaik was back. She didn't move. She waited. She listened to the sound of his slippers brushing the tiled floor, the jingle of keys as he dropped them on the table, the loud yawning he always did when he came back from somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. Then he opened the door and stepped in. He smelled of perfume. Not hers. The same one from the other night. Aurora slowly turned her head to look at him. He paused. "You're awake?" She didn't answer. He walked to the wardrobe and pulled off his shirt. Traffic was mad. "I almost slept at my guy's place again." Still, she said nothing. Chaik looked at her. "You're not talking." She slowly sat up. "I saw your phone." His hand froze. Aurora continued, "Amora sent you messages. She said she misses you. She said I don't need you anymore. And she asked for the gold necklace my father gave me." Chaik turned around. "You went through my phone." "You left it here," she said. "I read everything." Chaik rubbed his forehead. "You had no right." Adeora's voice rose slightly. "No right? You brought another woman into our lives. You lie every day. You cheat. You steal from me. And now you say I had no right. He looked away. You don't understand. I don't understand what? He threw his shirt on the bed. Life is hard, Aurora. You think it's easy for me to carry this new version of you? You can't even stand. I go to work, I come home, I feed you, I take care of this house. And you sit in that chair and watch. I sit in this chair, she said, her voice shaking, because I fell while trying to survive in the poor life you never helped me adjust to. He shouted, I didn't marry a cripple. Silence. The air stopped moving. Aurora blinked slowly. Chike turned around, breathing heavily. I'm tired, Aurora. I'm tired of pretending that I'm okay. I'm tired of seeing you like this. She lowered her eyes. Then why are you still here? He stepped closer. Because I thought maybe, just maybe, the old Aurora would come back. The rich one? She asked. He nodded. She stared at him for a moment. She's gone. He exhaled loudly, picked up his bag, and left the room. Aurora sat there for a long time. Her hands rested on her lap, her face calm, but inside, everything was shaking. She felt something crack inside her. Something that used to hold her together was breaking apart. A knock came at the door. She wiped her eyes quickly and wheeled herself to the sitting room. She opened the door. It was Uncle Madhu, her late father's lawyer. He looked older than she remembered. His white beard was longer, and his eyes looked sad when they saw her in the wheelchair. Aurora, he said softly. Uncle, she whispered. He stepped in and hugged her. I'm so sorry. I had no idea it was this bad. She pulled back. Come and sit. He sat down, placing his briefcase on his lap. I came as soon as you called. Tell me everything. She nodded. After Daddy died, I felt like everyone loved me only for the money. I wanted to know who was real. So I moved everything. I made it look like the Obialo Empire crashed. I became poor, just to see. Uncle Madhu was quiet. She continued, Now I know. My husband doesn't love me. My family disappeared. My friends left me. I'm alone. He leaned forward. Aurora, it was a risky test. I know. But I understand why you did it. She nodded. That's why I want to protect what's left. I want to update my will. Remove Chike. Freeze any access he has. And I want to take back the house in Ikoyi. He opened his briefcase. We can do all that. But are you ready for what comes next? I am. He handed her a document. Sign here. She took the pen and signed slowly. When he finished packing up, he said, Aurora, your father would be proud of your strength. Don't let pain stop your purpose. She smiled faintly. Thank you. He left. A few minutes later, Chike returned. He looked at her. Who was that? My father's lawyer. What did he want? To update my will. Chike paused. Aurora met his eyes. I removed your name. He laughed. What? I said I removed your name. He dropped his bag. You can't do that. I just did. He walked closer. You're angry. You're not thinking clearly. I'm very clear, Chike. You don't love me. You love the comfort I used to bring. He shouted. I stood by you when you fell. You stood in the room. You didn't stand by me. He went silent. Aurora turned her chair. From today, you are a tenant in this house. Don't touch my things. Don't enter my room. Don't lie to me again. He laughed bitterly. You can't even walk, and you're making threats. She wheeled closer. I may not walk, but I still have power. He hissed and walked away. That night, Chike didn't sleep in the house. The next day, Aurora went for physiotherapy. Tochi, her therapist, was waiting. Morning, he said gently. Morning. He pushed her inside and started their session. They worked on her arms, her lower back, and her fingers. Then came leg stimulation. Tochi placed her legs on soft foam rollers. "Any feeling today?" he asked. "No," she replied. He pressed her thigh. "Here." "Nothing." "How about here?" She gasped slightly. "Wait, I felt something." Tochi smiled. "Way back of my knee, like a pin." He nodded. "That's good news. That's something." Aurora smiled faintly. "Are you serious?" "Yes. We'll keep working." She held his hand. "Thank you." After therapy, she came home exhausted but hopeful. She had felt something. Even if small, it gave her hope. When she entered the house, Chaik was sitting on the couch. He was holding her wedding photo in his hand. She wheeled in and said nothing. He looked up. "We used to be happy." She didn't reply. "I remember this day. You wore that lace gown you loved. Everyone said we were perfect." She looked at the photo. "That girl is gone." He dropped the frame. "We can start again." "Why now?" He walked to her. "Because I miss you." She stared at him. "Do you miss me or my money?" "I made a mistake," he said. "I was scared. Everything changed so fast. I didn't know how to handle it." "You handled it by sleeping with another woman," she replied. "I'm sorry." She shook her head. "You're only sorry because you see I'm rising again." "No, I..." "Stop, Chaik. Please. I'm too tired to argue." He sat on the floor before her. "Aurora, I'm begging. Give me another chance." She looked at him. "What about tomorrow?" "It's over." She closed her eyes. "I don't believe you." He stood up slowly. "What can I do to prove it?" "Leave." He blinked. "What?" "I need peace. You're a storm. I can't heal with you around." He stood still. "I'll send your things to your brother's house. You can stay there." He turned and walked toward the door, then stopped. "You know, you're stronger than I thought." She said nothing. He left. Aurora wheeled herself to the window and watched him disappear into the street. She whispered, "One less burden." She turned to look around the house. It was still small, still warm, still poor. But it felt different now. Lighter. She went into the bedroom, opened the drawer, and pulled out a piece of paper. It was her father's last letter to her. She read it aloud. "If one day you find yourself alone, don't forget who you are. Obialos don't beg for love. They build their strength through pain." She folded it back and smiled. She looked at her legs. Then she looked at the mirror. And she whispered, "I'm coming back." The silence in the flat after Chaik left was heavy, but it wasn't sad. It was peaceful. For the first time in weeks, Aurora didn't have to listen to his shouting. She didn't have to smell unfamiliar perfume or wait by the door wondering if he would come home. She could breathe. That night, she cooked herself a simple dinner, boiled yam and palm oil. She did it slowly, one step at a time. She sliced the yam from her chair, boiled it, and poured red oil in a small bowl with pepper and salt. It wasn't fancy, but it reminded her of when she was a child, when things were simple. As she ate, she thought about her journey. From billionaire's daughter to poor woman in a wheelchair. From a loved wife to a forgotten one. From being surrounded by people to being left alone. But despite all that, she was still standing inside, even if her legs were not. She whispered to herself, "This pain will not last forever." The next day, she went to therapy again. Tochi was waiting for her with a bright smile. "You're looking stronger today," he said. Aurora smiled. "I feel stronger." They worked harder than before. He helped her try a new movement, bending her left knee while lying flat. "Try now," he said, gently pressing her leg. Aurora closed her eyes and focused. "I think it's moving." Tochi's eyes widened. Yes, it moved. Just a little, but it did. Aurора's heart beat fast. "Are you sure?" "Yes, we're getting somewhere." She smiled and laughed for the first time in weeks. A real laugh. When she returned home, she sat in the sitting room and thought, Maybe this is how healing begins, little by little. That evening, around 8:30 p.m., she heard keys at the door. Her smile faded. She had already told Chaik to leave. But there he was, opening the door like nothing happened. He stepped in, looking tired and restless. Aurora said nothing. He didn't greet her. He dropped his bag on the floor and sat down heavily on the couch. "I just came to pick some things," he said without looking at her. She nodded once and turned her face away. He walked into the room. Aurora wheeled herself slowly behind him, watching silently. She stopped outside the bedroom door. He picked up his small suitcase and began packing his clothes, talking to himself under his breath. She stayed silent. Then, he pulled out his phone and dialed. Aurora froze. He didn't know she was behind the door. The call connected. "Hello? Babe," he said in a soft voice. Aurора's heart started beating fast. "I just came to get the rest of my things." "Yeah, she thinks I'm leaving for good." "No, she doesn't know a thing." He paused and chuckled. "I told you, N.A. Once I get access to her documents again, we'll disappear. Don't worry, baby. I'll get the house, the rest of her jewelry, and whatever small money she's hiding." Aurora felt like the walls were closing in. "I've already made her sign some forms when she was weak. She didn't read them. I just need one more signature. Then everything is mine." She couldn't believe what she was hearing. He had lied. He never left because he was sorry. He came back to finish what he started, to take what was left of her. "Yes, I'll pretend a bit longer. After that, I'll dump her and we'll move to South Africa or Ghana. Somewhere fresh." Adeora's hand tightened on the wheel. Her fingers shook, but her eyes were dry. Chaik laughed again. "She's too soft. She won't fight. She's just there, rolling around like a quiet ghost." That was it. She rolled back slowly, carefully, quietly. When she got to the sitting room, she picked her phone with shaking hands and pressed record. She had to protect herself now. A few seconds later, Chaik walked out of the room. He saw her and smiled. "I just packed some clothes. I'll be going." She looked up at him, calm but cold. "You should go fast. Someone is waiting." He paused. "What do you mean?" "Amora." His face changed. "You've started again." "No, Chaik. You're the one who started. I just listened." He frowned. "Listen to what?" "Your call. Just now. I heard everything." His eyes widened. "You were eavesdropping." "I was in my house." He dropped the suitcase. "Listen." She raised her hand. "Don't lie. Don't twist it. You came back to take what's left of my life. But you failed." He pointed at her. "You don't have proof." She pressed play on the recording. His voice filled the room. "Once I get access to her documents again, we'll disappear. I told you, N.A. She didn't read them." Chaik rushed forward to grab the phone, but she rolled back quickly. "You touch me, I'll call the police." He stopped. "You're going to destroy me. You tried to destroy me first." "I was desperate," he shouted. "You think it's easy being with someone like you?" "No," she said. "I know it's not easy, but you made it hell." He looked at her like she was someone he didn't recognize. "You've changed." "Yes," she said, "and it's the best thing I've done." He picked up his suitcase and stormed out. The door slammed shut. Aurora sat there, breathing heavily. The house was quiet again, but now her mind was racing. She forwarded the voice recording to her lawyer, Uncle Madhu, with a note. "Keep this. I'll explain everything soon." She also sent a backup copy to herself and stored it in the cloud. She wouldn't be caught unprepared again. That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Her chest was heavy, not with sadness, but with something stronger. It was not fear. It was not pain. It was fire. She whispered, "I survived heartbreak. I survived betrayal. I survived losing my legs. I will survive this too." The next morning, she received a message from her aunt. "Auntie Nena, I heard Chaik left you. Sorry. Oh. Please, my son needs help with school fees. Just 120k. You're still Obialo's daughter, Abeg. Ada Aura didn't reply. 1 hour later, another message came from her cousin, Ikenna. Ikenna, I know things are hard now, but if you can help me with 80k for rent, I'll pay back soon. She shook her head slowly. They didn't call when she fell. They didn't visit when she cried. But they all wanted money now. She deleted the messages and made a decision. It was time to end the game. It was time to take her name back. She picked up the phone and called Uncle Madu. Let's meet. I'm ready. He replied, I've been waiting for this call. The sun was high when Ada Aura wheeled herself into the private room at Heritage Suites in Ikoyi. The air smelled of fresh Polish and quiet money. For the first time in months, she was wearing a dress that fit her body well. Her hair was neatly packed, and her face carried calmness, but also something new. Strength. Uncle Madu stood up as she entered. He smiled. You look different, Ada Aura. I feel different, she replied as she wheeled herself beside the round table in the center. He helped her settle in, then straightened his files. Everything is ready. Are you sure you want to do this today? Ada Aura nodded. Yes, it's time they all see who I really am. He gave a small smile and walked to the door. In less than 10 minutes, the room began to fill. Her uncle, Chief Ease, her cousin Ikenna, her aunt Nena, even her distant sister Ngozi came in, dressed in gold earrings and dark shades like it was a party. Then came Chaik. He walked in late, dressed in his best outfit, fresh haircut, watch shining. He looked around and smirked when he saw the room full. Ada Aura didn't speak to any of them. They all sat down. The murmuring began. What's this about? She called us for meeting, after months. Maybe she's finally ready to return what's left of the estate. Chaik leaned back in his seat. She's looking fresh again. Something's up. Uncle Madu walked to the center and raised his voice. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Barrister Madu, longtime legal advisor to the late Chief Obialo and his daughter, Ada Aura. We are here today for one reason, to address the final status of the Obialo estate and make certain announcements concerning the family legacy. The room quieted. He turned to Ada Aura. Madam, would you like to speak? She wheeled forward slowly. Her voice was calm, but firm. When my father died, she began. Everyone said I was lucky, that I was now in charge. But soon after, when I acted poor, nobody stood by me. The room shifted. She looked around. I lost friends. I lost respect. Even my own husband left me emotionally, then physically. Some of you laughed behind my back. Some of you ignored me when I called. But today, I want to thank you. They stared in confusion. Because you helped me see the truth. Her uncle coughed. Ah, Ada Aura, if we wronged you, forgive us. We thought you were finished. The news was everywhere. Her cousin added, yes, and you were not picking calls. Ada Aura held up her hand. Don't lie. I was always reachable. You didn't care. They fell silent. Chaik crossed his arms. What's the point of all this, Ada Aura? You brought us here to shame us. Ada Aura turned to Uncle Madu and nodded. The lawyer pulled out a brown envelope and dropped a document on the table. This, he said, is proof that Ada Aura never lost her wealth. The Obialo Empire never crashed. She simply moved everything out of public view. Gasps filled the room. What? You mean? Wait, what are you saying? Chaik stood up. That's a lie. Madu opened the next file. All her shares were legally protected. The properties were never seized. The accounts were closed on purpose. This was a private test to see who loved her genuinely. Ada Aura looked straight at Chaik. And you failed. His face dropped. You cheated. You lied. You tried to steal from me even when I had nothing. You laughed with another woman while I sat in a wheelchair crying at night. Chaik stepped forward. You tricked me, Ada Aura. You played with my life. No, she said. You exposed yours. He shouted, You think you can embarrass me in public and go free? She calmly reached into her bag and played the audio again. I just need one more signature. Then everything is mine. Chaik froze. Eyes turned toward him. Chief Ease shook his head. Chaik, you said you loved her. I was angry. I didn't mean it. Aurora turned to her family. And you, all of you called me only to beg for money. You never visited, never asked how I was surviving. Not even when I fell and couldn't walk again. Her aunt covered her mouth. Jesus. Aurora continued, But now you are all here, dressed in your best clothes, hoping to hear that I'm rich again so you can start collecting. Ikenna shifted uncomfortably. Ada, please, we didn't mean to abandon you. She looked at each of them one by one. You abandoned me the moment my father's money went silent. Uncle Mardu raised the final paper. Now for the big announcement. Chief Obialo's wealth is now fully restored under Adeora's name. She is the rightful head of the Obialo estate. She has chosen to cut off anyone who showed greed, disrespect, or betrayal. The silence in the room became heavy. He pointed at Chaik. You are no longer recognized as her legal spouse. All assets connected to you have been revoked. Divorce papers are already signed and awaiting delivery. Chaik's mouth dropped. No, wait, Aurora. Please, I can change. You already did, she said. And not in a good way. He rushed forward, but 2 hotel security guards entered and blocked him. Madam, should we escort him out? One asked. Yes, she replied without blinking. They carried him, kicking and shouting. You'll regret this, Aurora. You'll regret it. The door slammed shut. Her family sat still, afraid to move. Aurora turned to them. You may leave too. There's nothing here for you. Her aunt tried to plead. Just small help, please. Rent is hard. No, Aurora said. Not even 1 naira. They left, one by one, quiet, ashamed. When the room was empty, Aurora looked at Uncle Mardu. He smiled. You did well. She took a deep breath. I thought today would break me again, she whispered. But I feel free. He stood. Now you can rebuild. She nodded. This time, for myself. They shook hands. As she wheeled toward the window, the sun broke through the clouds outside. She smiled. She had lost everything. But now, she had herself again. The days that followed the big reveal felt like a new beginning for Aurora. She moved out of the small Sorulir flat and back into her late father's mansion in Ikoyi. The tall gates were cleaned. The dry fountain at the center of the compound was repaired. The inside of the house no longer felt like a museum of old memories. It felt alive again. But the biggest difference wasn't the house. It was Aurora. She was no longer scared. No longer quiet. No longer weak. She was still in a wheelchair, but now she sat taller than before. Her eyes were sharper. Her voice firmer. She had faced fire and didn't burn. Now she was back, not just as Chief Obialo's daughter, but as her own woman. One Saturday morning, she sat at the edge of the garden, drinking papaya juice as the sun gently touched her face. Her new nurse, Nkechi, stood nearby, arranging her medicine. Are you in any pain, madam? Nkechi asked. Only the good kind, Aurora smiled. The kind that reminds me I survived. Suddenly, the guard walked up to them. Madam, there's someone at the gate. Says his name is Chaik. Aurora blinked. Nkechi asked quickly, should I tell them to send him away? Aurora stared at the gate for a few seconds, then said, let him in. The guard nodded and left. Nkechi looked concerned. Are you sure you want to see him? Aurora replied softly, yes. This is the part that must happen. A few minutes later, Chaik walked into the compound, slowly. His shirt was rumpled. His face looked tired. His eyes had dark circles under them. When he saw Aurora, he froze. She didn't move. She didn't greet him. He removed his slippers at the edge of the patio and stepped forward. "Aurora," he said quietly. She looked at him. "You're brave to show up." "I had to," he said. "I couldn't sleep." "I've had sleepless nights too," she said. "Many of them. Most caused by you." He nodded slowly. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed to see you. I needed to say something." "I'm listening," she said. He sat down on the grass in front of her wheelchair. He didn't talk immediately. Then he said, "I failed you. I broke every promise I made. I was weak, selfish, and wicked." Aurora said nothing. "I know I don't deserve your kindness. I don't even deserve this visit," he added. She still didn't speak. Chaik's voice cracked. "You gave me everything. You treated me with respect, even when life went hard. And all I did was treat you like trash." He looked down. "I became someone even I don't recognize." Aurora asked quietly, "Then why did you do it?" He looked up. "I thought your money was the only thing that made you valuable. I thought once it was gone, you had nothing left to offer. But I was blind." She raised her brow. "And now? Now I see that your strength, your kindness, your patience, they were the real wealth." He shook his head. "But I didn't see it then. And I hurt you. Badly." He wiped his face. "I didn't come to beg for a second chance," he added quickly. "I just wanted to say that I'm sorry. Deeply sorry." Aurora watched him. Then she said, "I used to think your silence hurt me the most. But I was wrong." Chaik looked confused. "What do you mean?" She leaned forward slightly. "The part that broke me was not the cheating. Not the insults. Not even the day you said I was just a problem you had to manage." He lowered his head in shame. "It was the way you looked at me like I was nothing," she continued. "Like I had no use. Like I didn't matter anymore." Her eyes started to water, but her voice didn't shake. "I would sit on that old bed, staring at the wall, and wonder what I did wrong. I gave you love. I gave you comfort. I gave you my heart." Chaik's eyes welled up. "I don't deserve any of it." "No, you don't," she said. "But I needed to tell you this, because I'm done carrying it." A single tear dropped down Chaik's cheek. Aurora looked at him and added, "You didn't just break my heart, Chaik. You tried to break my soul." Chaik bent down and cried into his hands. Real tears. Real pain. Not the type he used to fake when he wanted something. Nkechi looked at Aurora, her face filled with worry. But Aurora gave her a small nod. She was okay. Chaik sobbed louder. "I hate who I became. I don't want to be that man anymore." Aurora said softly, "Then don't be." He looked up. She continued, "Change. Be better. Not for me, but for whoever crosses your path next." He nodded, wiping his nose. "You're the strongest person I know." "I wasn't," she replied. "But I became strong, because I had no choice." He stood up slowly. "I'll leave now," he said. "Thank you for letting me in." Aurora stared at him, then said quietly, "You may leave. But the pain you gave me, it'll take time to fully go." "I understand." He turned around and walked away. As he reached the gate, she whispered to herself, "This is how closure feels." 1 week later, Aurora had her final physiotherapy session. Tochi was more excited than usual. "Let's try the frame again," he said. The frame was a metal walking device with arm support. It had been brought in 2 weeks earlier for balance training. Aurora slowly moved from her chair into the frame, her hands gripping the side bars. Tochi guided her legs gently. She looked at him. "Okay, ready." He nodded. "Lift your right foot, just a little." She focused. Sweat rolled down her temple. Then, with all her strength, she raised her right leg by a few inches. It touched the floor forward. Tochi smiled. "Yes, you did it." She gasped. "I did." "Yes." Then she lifted the other leg. Pain shot through her back, but she didn't stop. She took one shaky step, then another, then one more. and then she collapsed back into the chair. Tochi held her quickly. "You did it," he whispered. "You walked." Aurora laughed through her tears. "I walked. Only a few steps, but for her, it was like flying." She wiped her face and whispered, "Thank you, God." Months later, Aurora was sitting in the new boardroom of Obialo Holdings. The company had been rebuilt. The old staff had returned. Her late father's office had been cleaned and preserved, but she now used her own space. Her name was on the door. Aurora Obialo, CEO. She no longer wore black all the time. Her clothes were bright, her face glowing. Her wheelchair was still there, but now, sometimes, she walked small distances with help. Her board members respected her not because of her father, but because of her courage. Her story had spread quietly. People whispered about it, but they also admired her. Her phone rang. It was her lawyer. "Aurora," he said, "just letting you know. Your divorce case is officially closed. Everything has been processed." "Thank you, Uncle," she replied. After the call, she walked slowly to the mirror in her office. She stared at her reflection. She saw strength. She saw survival. She saw power. Then she whispered the same words she said the night she returned to Ikoyi. "I'm still here." She turned and walked back to her desk, her steps slow but steady. And behind her, the sun poured in through the tall window, lighting the floor beneath her feet.